guns, gold, and geopolitics.
They never sent soldiers. They didn't need to. The ledger did the work. This is a briefing on the most effective empire-building strategy of the modern age. Not carved by artillery, carved by credit. China understood a simple truth. You don't need to invade a country when you can own its future. The battlefield is no longer land, it is time, measured in decades of repayment schedules, collateral clauses, and project agreements that guarantee obedience long after the politicians who signed them have disappeared. Africa was the ideal terrain. High demand for infrastructure, weak access to Western capital, governments desperate to show progress, and a foreign power willing to offer money faster than anyone else. Beijing didn't come offering roads, it came offering leverage. Debt diplomacy operates through layered instruments. Layer 1, concessional loans. Soft rates, long maturities, but tied to Chinese contractors, Chinese materials, and Chinese supply chains. Every dollar lent spirals back to Beijing through state-owned enterprises. Layer 2, resource-backed agreements. Collateral in the form of cobalt, copper, lithium, oil. When repayment falters, extraction rights expand. Governments lose negotiating power, commodity futures become Beijing's property. Layer 3, sovereign guarantees. If a project fails, the state, not the contractor, absorbs the loss. The risk is asymmetric, the outcome is predetermined. Layer 4, infrastructure control points. Ports, railways, power stations, fiber networks, hard assets that become strategic choke points. If a nation defaults, access terms shift, influence becomes structural. This is not accidental. This is the architecture of dependency. By 2030, more than half of Africa's external debt to G20 countries will be owed to China. Some nations already struggle to service interest payments, let alone principal. The quiet pressure accumulates. Critical consequences follow. 1. Political capture. Leaders dependent on Chinese financing cannot oppose Chinese interests. Policies shift. Votes at UN forums align. Influence hardens. 2. Military access. Logistics hubs built under civilian purposes double as naval staging points. The Horn of Africa is already evidence. 3. Data exposure. Chinese-built telecom networks become arteries of information control. Surveillance moves from national to foreign oversight. 4. Commodity lock-in. African resources don't just leave the continent, they depart under pricing structures set decades in advance. No gunfire, no uniforms, no occupation. Just contracts that function like long-range artillery. The strategy unfolds in predictable stages. 1. Identify a state with infrastructure gaps. 2. Offer financing faster than Western lenders can approve paperwork. 3. Bind the loan to Chinese firms. 4. Inflate project costs. 5. Ensure the government carries the risk. 6. Allow repayment difficulties to surface. 7. Renegotiate from a position of absolute leverage. 8. Expand influence through concessions. Mineral access, port rights, political alignment. 9. Internal institutions weaken. 10. External dependence hardens. This chain doesn't need conflict. The trap is legal, economic, and nearly irreversible. If the current trajectory continues, outcome 1, African governments will restructure debt in China's favour, granting expanded mineral rights and long-term infrastructure concessions. Outcome 2, China secures multi-decade control over critical raw materials for batteries, electronics, and military technology. Outcome 3, Western powers, late to respond, attempt counter-offers that come with their own forms of dependency, intensifying geopolitical competition across the continent. Outcome 4, African sovereignty becomes increasingly symbolic. Decisions appear democratic, but the financial constraints dictate policy from the shadows. Outcome 5. The next frontier is energy. Solar, hydro, and grid systems financed by China will become the backbone of national power, literally and politically. This is the new empire. No borders, no flags, built entirely on repayment schedules. In the old empires, armies marched first and bankers followed. In the new one, the banker arrives alone. And by the time the country understands the cost, the war is already over.